What is up and welcome in, guys. My name is Mountaineer Paul, and you have landed yourself here at Mountaineer Paul Talks Football, Hoops from the Hills, Couz's Corner, a joint venture between all three of these channels. Couz will be joining momentarily. He's just running a bit late. Won't be long before he's on here with me, guys. Obviously, I know we've got a lot to get to. There's a ton of you guys in here already. Well, 17. That's not a ton, but I anticipate this is going to be probably a large chat room, guys. You know how it works. If you can support the show, we would really appreciate it. This is from all three shows. If you do give a super chat in the comment box, guys, name what show you're watching this from, or that be Couz's Corner, Mountaineer Paul Talks Football, or Hoops from the Hills, so we can separate out these separate super chats, which you'll do for us, anyway. But if you do support us, we would appreciate it, guys. Let's get on with some of the show. So, obviously, today has been a tumultuous day for us all. I have a lot to say about it. I'll give you an outline for what the show is going to be about if you didn't get it from the thumbnail. Obviously, Preseason Awards football, that thing happened today. We've got one player on that list. On the other hand, we've got one player that is out the door in Jose Perez. Even after we saw a highlight tape come out last night of him working out in Mountaineer gear at the Mountaineer facilities, seemed like he was doubling down and possibly committed to the Mountaineers, and yet, no. Turns out we were being gaslighted and kind of used a little bit. You can call Huggins all you want. You can say Huggins created this situation, and I agree he did. But there comes a point where some of these players have to take ownership for the reasons they're leaving. Joe Toussaint, it's reported, got $400,000 to go to Texas Tech. No, I do not have proof of that, but I have good sources that are telling me this is the case. And that's why he flipped from Kansas State last minute. That being the case, what do you think Jose Perez is thinking now as a graduate transfer? Oh, I could probably do something similar. Got better numbers than Joe T, even though at a lower level. He's going to go test them waters. It's late in the summer, and good players are coming available for the first time really ever. This is unprecedented. This has never happened before. So this is all new within the portal era, and we really don't have a playbook for it, guys. And so at the expense, yet again, of we West Virginia fans and West Virginians, we kind of have to be that punching bag a little bit, nationally, getting made fun of here and there. But what they don't know about us is that we're blue collar, is that we don't stay down when we go down. So we'll be all right. We're going to get up as a fan base, and we're going to support these Mountaineers. Don't give up. I seen somebody in the comments earlier at the beginning. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. Just like Jimmy Valvano said, we're going to support these Mountaineers, whether they're paid guns, hired guns, or they're four-year players like a Seth Wilson, which, by the way, if you don't appreciate Seth Wilson, Kobe Johnson, Pat Sumanick, guys like that now, you should. These guys are, at least up until now, incredibly loyal, and with everybody around them seems to be making money, these players so far have stood pat. I have a lot of respect for that and think they now have earned their chance to be within this rotation with three really good players in Kirk Creesa, Jesse Edwards, and Raekwon Battle. Would love to know what some of you guys think about that. We've got a lot of comments. A lot of people saying things like this from Matthew: just find some solid replacements for the ones we lost. We'll be just fine. While I agree with that, it is late summer, and unfortunately, we have graduate transfers to choose from. As we know, the portal is closed as of May 11th for all normal players. So, how does West Virginia get better? We've seen names thrown around. Quinterly from Alabama. We've seen Yetna. We've seen names like that get thrown around. Mulcahy transfers to Washington. Probably had a chance at him before the Hug situation. Unfortunately, that is now not the case, and he is at Washington. Alexis Yetna has a nagging knee injury, according to Ethan Bach. And Javon Quinterly is probably favored to Memphis. So we're going to have to keep looking, guys. And honestly, I haven't done, it's been the holiday weekend. Yesterday was a holiday. I haven't done the normal research. I don't have a list of names for you guys. Maybe you do, and I'll certainly get to those in the comments if so. From wherever you're watching this, guys, move that mouse clicker or that thumb or finger or wherever you're using and like this video. It obviously helps with the algorithm. It helps Couz and I get our videos out to a larger public and hopefully expand our audience, guys, so that we can let them know we Mountaineer fans know we know sports. Drop a comment below. Let us know how you feel. Are you down in the dumps over Jose leaving? Are you down in the dumps over Zach Frazier, which we'll get to in a minute, being the only Mountaineer selected? Let me know how you feel and subscribe to the channel, guys. We certainly appreciate all our subscribers here. We love you guys and certainly appreciate you for all you do for us, all the support, video in, video out. It really means a ton. Not just saying that. Really mean it. I got to do our sponsorship thing real quick, guys. I was going to do it with Couz, but if you'll just bear with me for like 20 seconds, guys, don't log out. I have to say a thing really quick, which I'm very proud to say. This episode of Couz's Corner, Mountaineer Paul Talks Football, and Hoops from the Hills is brought to you by Dutch Miller Automotive, where friends and family pricing means you get the best deal right up front on any new or pre-owned vehicle in stock every time. With brands like Chevrolet, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Kia, Hyundai, Ford, GMC, Buick, and Subaru, the Dutch Miller Automotive family is always growing and ready to put you in the car or truck you've been searching for. Check out our inventory across West Virginia at DutchMillerAuto.com or come in today to the Home and Friends and Family pricing only at a Dutch Miller Automotive store near you. Appreciate you guys for bearing with us on that. Really do. We're going to try to put up this thing here. All right. So this is the preseason list of players, and that is small, guys. I wasn't expecting it to be that small. I was actually expecting Couz to already be in here. Unfortunately, he's not, and we were going to use the computer. Zach Frazier is the only West Virginia Mountaineer on the Big 12 media preseason football. And I want to know how you guys feel about that, because obviously Zach Frazier is our most consistent and best player as far as the last couple of years. You get to down the list a little ways. I think a lot of people like C.J. Donaldson has been snubbed here, and I tend to agree with that. I think C.J. Donaldson will prove to be, if he stays healthy, the best back in the Big 12 and possibly one of the best backs in the country. It's all within his grasp. Not only is he a monster, and he hasn't even showed the side of his game yet, guys, but he is a route-running freak. He's a guy that can, 1 foot in the ground, make decisive cuts and really shake people out in the open field. And C.J. Donaldson's a guy that can do that. Go watch his tape from high school. He was the receiver the whole way. Never once did they line him up behind center and hand him the ball. He might have got it on a sweep here and there, but never did he, from what I saw, and I watched a bunch of games, and I had my very first show I ever did was with C.J. Donaldson's head coach from Gulliver Prep in Florida. So I had got to know a lot about CJ and Travius Lathan, for that matter. But so obviously CJ's a name. I think a lot of us feel like whoever starts at quarterback could be somebody that's in a position running the ball wise to maybe be in a good spot. Garrett Green seems to be the favorite now, although I push for Nico because I think once he's tested through some fire, I think Nico has the higher upside. Some people disagree with me on that, and that's cool. That's what this is all about. Certainly, Garrett Green could put up some big numbers this year. I just really worry about his durability, guys. Wonder what you guys think about that. BPA 1985, welcome to the show, man. Glad to see you again. James Okonkwo, is there a chance he comes back? I have not heard, and it's been a quiet weekend. I have not heard one way or the other on this. I do think there's a chance for him to come back from everything I've been told, more so than some of the other guys. We can certainly use him, at least have a couple of those core guys that we thought we were going to have all of just not even a month ago. It's really been a punch to the gut, guys, losing all these people. WVU fan forever has the perfect WVU attitude towards this. He bets Raekwon Battle doesn't get his waiver, which is why I pointed out to a friend today. I think that's why they reached out to Quinterly. You have to plan for the possibility that Battle doesn't get his waiver. And obviously Quinterly would be the perfect two guard, but it's looking like, at least right now, we're probably not going to beat Memphis out. And I don't even know if we're going to get a visit. So I don't even know if we were ever really in the Quinterly sweepstakes. There have been a few people point that out from the get-go. I'm one of those people that just kind of likes to wait and see on stuff like that. It's just how I roll. And I've heard that too, Matthew. But with the way things are going, would you be surprised if we had another Jose Perez situation happen here? It's what we've come to expect for ourselves. It almost feels like a curse, guys. Seriously. I know people I have some friends that say all schools go through what West Virginia's going through. You're just so close to the situation that you don't realize it. But I really do think that we go through extra. Sasquatch 304, man. I appreciate that a lot. $20 super chat, extremely generous, man. Not hating on the portal, but I think Perez made a mistake transferring again. There's no doubt about it. Listen, I'm withholding because I told certain people that I would today. I don't want to bash the kid because he was put in a bad spot. And I have to keep that in mind. But from what I'm told, he was at least part of that group that demanded Josh Eilert come back. And if that's the case, then that means that he leveraged the coaching hire basically against himself and then didn't follow through on it. I'm going to keep words out of my mouth I shouldn't say. Sorry, guys. Get upset here. To me, that's not cool. And what really made me mad today was, I sent that video of him working out to everybody last night. My mom, my sister, Couz, name it. Look at Jose Perez. He's putting in work in the gym, doing all kinds of cool, fancy dribbling moves, and this old man game that he has. I'm a fan of it because it's crafty and he can score it. And all it really was a highlight tape for other schools to see. And to beat it all, he was wearing a WVU shirt, or at least a West Virginia. It was a white and blue shirt that said West Virginia. That really took me aback today when I really put that together and thought about it. Maybe I'm overreacting to that. What do you guys think? Am I overreacting to that? I really feel like that was a crappy move. I thought he was reaffirming his commitment to us, not trying to get other teams to look at him. It was crappy, man. Sam Ventura, how we doing, brother? The NCAA is destroying college sports. Why would they open the portal for a month because of a coaching change? All they are doing is giving them all the time to be reached by the highest bidder. Yeah, and I have people in the know that will say and know that this team has been tampered with. There's no doubt about it. The level of talent on this team, think about it, guys. A top 3 portal class and a team that, while a lot of people said wasn't for a team that wasn't a top half of the Big 12 team, there sure is a lot of teams paying for these players. Joe Toussaint worth $400,000. What? So is it Is it desperation? Really? I can't believe that. I can't believe that this is just something I was rumored. And I don't know if anybody else heard this. And I got this from a source that is in the know at K-State, and I mean in the know. So it's not a random YouTuber. This is a guy that's plugged in there that told me that Joe Toussaint was offered $400K by Texas Tech. So if that's the case, how is Jesse Edwards and Raekwon Battle going to stick around, guys? If those kind of numbers are being thrown at them this late in the summer, I'm worried about the rest of the roster too. And what's the NCAA going to do if this happens? If this keeps happening, for instance, let's say this happens again in the future. Coach gets fired in the late summer. Maybe it's even later than it is now. And the staff doesn't have time to recuperate that. So what do? Cancel the season? This could end up really being a miniature death penalty for a program in the future. I'm worried about the depth of this team. People say you only need 8 or 9. That's true. But to get through a full season, you need 12 or 13. There's a reason people will tighten up their rotations when it comes conference time and also into March. But before that, you see players that were playing not play anymore. That's so that your starters and your good players don't have to play every minute of every game. If you have to go through a full season with 8, 9 rotation, you'll be damn lucky if you don't get injured along the way. Got another super chat from Family Account. Toussaint got $400,000 with his production. He'd be stupid to turn that down. And Trey Mitchell near $1 million. It's opportunity only due to Huggins' poor decision making. Sure, I'm not disagreeing with that at all, and I'm not even disagreeing with Toussaint. The only thing I don't like about what Joe did was obviously he felt a certain type of way, right? Pitt, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State were his last 3, right? From what I understand, did he even visit Pitt? Does anybody know that? I don't think he did. If he did, I didn't hear about it. Was that just an FU to us? Call it what you want, man. But the day before, you write a big letter talking about how you love the Mountaineers and how thanked everybody for what they did here. And yet, Pitt's in your top 3. Sorry, man, I can't get with that. People, maybe he was making a business decision for himself, but I just find it hard to believe that Pitt was one of the top 3 for real. I think it was something else. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but that's how I feel. But yeah, obviously, and for what I was told, they projected him as a full-time starter at Kansas State. They projected him about 13 points per game. So insert that $400K into Texas Tech, who's not even going to start him. He's going to be playing backup there, but just for more money than he would have gotten here. That's all. We can pay $400,000, guys, but not to a backup. Texas Tech has got a ridiculous amount of NIL money to spend right now, and there's a reason why they have the number 1 recruiting class in the Big 12 in football and are heading that direction in basketball. It's wild what NIL's done for some of these teams that have kind of been traditionally like mediocre. Time for Seth Wilson to step up. Yeah, I agree. Let me get a drink, guys. Like I said, I ain't heard a peep out of Seth Wilson. Lets me know he's probably just been putting work in. And it's not like he's a bad player. And he could really slide into that 3 spot where Jose just left and play well there. He's an average defender. He's not an elite defender. Unfortunately, that's what we're going to miss the most out of Joe. But I think Josh Eilert's got a plan. He just has to figure out what pieces are going to be on the squad, whether that's a 4-out team with Jesse Edwards in the middle, or whether he's playing with 2 traditional bigs, which I don't think is going to be the case. First of all, I don't know if we can land another big, and that's capable of playing starters minutes unless Okonkwo comes back. And I think Josh Eilert has said on multiple occasions If you didn't see the John Rothstein episode today where he talked with Josh Eilert plainly said, yes, I will keep Hugs' defensive principles. He wants to be more consistent on ball screens. And I think a few people, real quick before I move on, a few people kind of misunderstood what he means by that. Being more consistent on ball screens means basically Hugs, the way Hugs did his ball screens was he liked there to be no rhyme or rhythm to it so that you didn't know when the trap is coming. And other coaches that will have a when and where type situation, we do these things. It's going to be known ahead of time as to where it was a chemistry thing with the other players. The player gets into a certain spot on the floor that's not advantageous, you trap. And that's kind of how, for what I understand, Hugs taught the trap. Eilert is not going to do it that way. It's going to be more planned out and careful. And that's what he means by consistency. It doesn't mean that Hugs wasn't consistent. I heard a couple of people rapping about that. Take a deep breath really quick. Been going and going, haven't I? I did not drink coffee before I got on here. I swear to God. I swear. You got to believe me. Thanks, Matthew. Like I said, I didn't really keep up with where he went too much. Yeah, I didn't keep up with where he went too much, man. So I appreciate that comment. Still don't like that he had Pitt in his top three. You'll never get me to admit that. Well, we need Seth to step up. I'm having trouble keeping up with all the messages, guys. I apologize. I hear that Texas Tech will play him and Pop Isaacs at the guard spots. That's what I hear as well. They've also got that freshman. Yeah, I figured the players would have stopped Huggins with Huggins' assistants, mostly sticking around. So they basically just left anyways. Right. Not to be a downer, but football and basketball are about to be catastrophes this year. Hoping I'm proven wrong. Well, I think that's what we're all hoping for, you know? I'll tell you this. Let's move back to football for a second, guys. I'll give you guys a few names that I think are going to be really big surprises for the Mountaineers this year. Number one on my list, and this is a guy I've become close to. I was able to announce his commitment on my show. He told me his commitment before it ever happened. He was one of the first players that I really interacted with in that way and figured out, like, oh, crap. If I get him with some players, I can learn some intel, promote it on my show, that kind of stuff. When I was learning YouTube, Keyshawn Cobb is a guy I think that was really good at Buffalo in that nickel/spear spot. And I think he's a guy who's really rangy. He understands body control. He played receiver in high school, and he's a guy that knows how to track the flight of the ball. And I think Keyshawn Cobb is going to be a really good player for us this year, guys, alongside Anthony Wilson. They're not big players, but they are technically sound players, especially Wilson, who's a tackling machine, had over 100 tackles from the safety spot at Georgia State with Clay Helton. I'm excited about those two. I think they're going to be good. Montre Miller's another guy that comes in highly rated as far as Pro Football Focus goes. We'll see how that translates to the Big 12. There's 3 secondary players, right? Then you get into Aubrey Burks, who is rated by some as the best safety in the league coming back. There's 4 secondary players that I'm pretty high on. That's a really good place to start. Koba back at middle linebacker is, I think, a player that has, I'll say he's just a bit above average with a little more upside than that. He could be maybe second team all-conference guy, maybe even first all-conference. I think he's probably in that second to third tier range. That's all we need him to be. Up front, a lot of people will say Sean Martin, but I think Day Hawkins is the guy to look at. He wrecked the spring game. He was unblockable during spring. He was a Power 5 recruit, went to Kentucky. People tell me he was unblockable there. And then obviously, I think Tennessee State, where he came from, he just put up some pretty big numbers. And he is in that Dante Stills mold where he's really, really wiggly in the hole. He kind of uses several hand fighting techniques, and also he'll juke a little bit in the hole with an offensive lineman and get you to miss. and he's a really good pass rushing interior defensive lineman. I'm excited to see what he does this year, guys. And then I had the second string left tackle, Prince, however you say his last name, from Penn State, tell me that Fator Malba is the strongest defensive lineman he's ever tried to block. Now he is the second string guy at Penn State, but he would probably start a lot of places. So Malba is a guy I think that although he's no pass rushing threat at all, I do think he's a guy in the middle that could be that Casey Hampton from the Steelers, Jamal Williams from the Chargers back in the day, that real big guy in the middle that plays on the nose, maybe even a Chris Neal type player that could really stop that middle up and allow this 4-2-5 that can flip into a 3-3-5 to work. My opinion. On defense, obviously we need a guy like Travis Slayson to step up. There are several we need to step up. I do think Sean Martin's going to be a consistent force, basically, up there. We lost a few guys on the D-line I'm not happy about. Obviously, Jordan Jefferson, I was extremely high on. Unfortunately, we lost him. You don't go to LSU if you're not any good, guys. That's just how I look at things. How we doing, John? Welcome in, brother. Obson, I think the starting quarterback will. I really thought up until recently it was going to be Nico, even in the face of all this Garrett Green publicity that Neil was giving him, and he went to the Manning camp, but now he's representing WVU at the Big 12 Media Days, things like that, along with Zach Frazier and some guys. I think, if I'm wrong about that, I'm wrong, but I thought Garrett was one of the guys that represented, and that's basically goes to your leaders. I wouldn't be surprised to see Garrett win that job. I don't think Neil's going to let us know until a week before the game, maybe not even game day. So, I think we have to have any edge we can over Penn State, and I still think both may end up playing. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Obviously, Nico has way more upside as a passer. Garrett is a runner. But really, what's best for us, personally, in my opinion, is Nico becoming the guy. He's just got more upside. He can throw it a little better, especially short and immediate. Garrett's really good long, but I worry about his short and intermediate passing game. And even though he's improved, but his durability is number one for me. So, real quick, guys, if you haven't subscribed to Mountaineer Paul Talks Football, that's my football channel. I break down a lot of film there. I do a lot of work on, I do some investigative journalism there too, as far as into Mountaineer athletics and other schools. I like to try to break some stories. I do have some sources. I know that's a joke that people say, like, what do they say? Source, trust me, bro. But I've worked really hard to get some sources, and people that have followed me on my channel for the last year will tell you, any kind of sources I get and I share, I will post screenshots of them. I'm not afraid to do that. It's just something I'm big on being transparent with you guys, and if I'm able to share it, I will. And I build up enough credibility over time to, I think, when I say something or say I've heard something, people know that for all intents and purposes, I probably did hear that. That's what I was trying to work towards the whole time. Not haven't arrived yet or nothing like that. I'm not saying that, guys. But yeah, please subscribe to Mountaineer Paul Talks Football. We're just over 1,000 subscribers there. Hoops from the Hills, mine and Couz. If you know Couz's Corner, if you're watching from there tonight, we have a joint venture called Hoops from the Hills where we talk about basketball, and then obviously his football channel is just it's done really well. He's got over 5,000 subscribers there, and continues to grow that thing. And Couz is truly one of the best out there. Excuse me, when it comes to Mountaineer athletics, Big 12 athletics, and conference realignment. Sorry guys, incredible job on all that, and really proud to have him as a partner, guys. I really am. He was a big inspiration for me doing this. Looks like I'm behind on some of these comments, huh? BPA 1985 said our pass defense has to be worlds better to compete against some of the teams in the Big 12. I'm glad they brought in a lot of secondary guys, but they have to step up and play well. Yeah, for sure. Which is why I think you've heard defensive coordinator Jordan Leslie, Andrew Jackson, guys like that, and even Neil Brown say, listen, they've had to simplify the defense. And you know, people will ask, like, what does that mean, simplify the defense? Well, you can get too fancy calling a defense. Go listen to Peyton Manning call play. And then go listen to Trent Dilfer call play. Be the same play. Like, you know, for example, Spider 2Y Banana is a play that John Gruden made famous. But you can lengthen that out another 7 to 8 seconds using other formations, using other motions, and make it sound a lot harder than it really is. It's at the end of the day, it's Spider 2Y Banana, but we can add all this extra verbiage in and make it Spider 2Y Banana, XY flip Z, and the whole deal. Same thing on defense. Jordan Leslie has really tried to slim down the verbiage of the defense, and also the assignments are just going to be clear. I think guys are going to know where they're going to go. I'll be interested to see what they go for this year, whether that is man coverage or zone coverage more. Some of his best defensive teams here so far have been zone coverage teams, so I'll be interested to see which way they end up going. Got another super chat here from Family Account. Thank you. Life-changing money versus playing for an assistant with no head coaching experience. Does Country Road Stress review and compensate the players their market value? Well, I can't speak for Country Roads Trust, but I do speak with Stephen Ford over there every now and then. Actually, he was on a show with Couz and I, and Couz's show, Couz's Corner, and we spoke with him at length for probably about 45 minutes. I don't know what their practices are with that, but I will say this. I did a video about a week ago on them. On3 named them one of the 10 most ambitious trusts in all of sports. And when I tell you they're buttoned up and they've got their crap together, they really do. I don't know about, I'll tell you this. They've got the money to pay certain players if it comes down to that. As of right now, I know that, like the women, for example, they got a huge sum of money, a couple $1 million for basketball, but it's over an 8 or 10 year span. And so people donate these large sums, and it might be in the bank or whatever you call that there, but there's also a tag on it for how long it's supposed to last. So that always comes into play too. I don't have all the answers, and I apologize, but I'm sure they do review. And if you're talking about guys that are already on the roster, I think we're just figuring out what market value even is at this point in time, and it keeps getting reset. If a guy like Joe Toussaint gets $400,000, well, that resets the market, right, for guys that are basically sixth men on good basketball teams, not even great basketball teams. West Virginia was a good basketball team last year. They weren't great, and they weren't terrible, and he was the sixth guy on that. So I don't know. You know, he got $400,000 reportedly. Now, I'll confirm this throughout this week. Everybody that's in here, listen to me. I am not saying for sure that he got 400K, but I was told by a source from K-State that was in there with the coaching staff that that's what they were told. So it could have been a leverage play. I don't know, but I trust this guy. And if you knew who it was, you would too. I just can't confirm it though. I don't want to put my credibility on the line and say for sure. Hello, Krista. I'm curious about. Oh, look who it is. Will you talk for a minute? My mouth's dry.
Yeah, sure. What are we talking about?
I was about to. Well, I was. Let me answer this question really quick. Is JJ Weatherholt getting NIL money? I'm guessing he is. Yes, he is getting paid. He's getting paid well, actually. They're probably compensating him in the upper percentile of all baseball players in the country, I would guess. There's a reason he stayed. Look at that pretty shirt he's got on. There's a reason he stayed with us so far.
Y'all can get you one of these.
Yeah, we've got Couz from the Hill shirts, guys.
Over at my merch store, Couz's Corner merch store.
Hell yeah.
Obviously, Paul would get half the proceeds.
Well, we were just talking about basically just the whole thing.
Yeah,
I've been talking about football. I was talking about football here just a minute ago and just kind of running down how I feel the defense is going to look. Talked about just to sum it up, I think Wilson and Cobb are going to be a good pair in the secondary, along with Montre Miller and whoever else. Obviously, Albie Burks. I think those 4 guys are going to be really good. I talked about Day Hawkins and being my pick on the D line for somebody to show out this year.
Mm-hmm.
I said Koba is probably going to be a second team-ish kind of guy. Sean Martin's going to be the same he always is, which is probably first, second, third team-ish level kind of guy. I think our defense is going to be better than people think.
Speaking of Sean Martin, Phil Steele has him as the 11th best draft-eligible DN in the country.
It's pretty good. That's a round 3 kind of grade. 2, 3.
Keep in mind that's only draft-eligible players. That doesn't count sophomores, freshmen, only juniors.
Right. Yeah.
But still, that's pretty good.
Right. So he's probably he's
one of the top in the league.
Yeah, for sure.
Phil Steele is higher on West Virginia than most of the other outlets. He has us finishing about 10th, I think, 9th or 10th.
Yeah.
Which is not great, but most of the other outlets have us finishing either 13th or 14th.
I think everybody'd like to hear what your opinion is on Zach Frazier being the only person hold on, let me put it back up here. This list. I know it's hard to see.
Yeah, I think it's. Listen, he's probably the only one I would give first team to. But there's no way C.J. Donaldson shouldn't at least be third team or honorable mention.
Right.
And Wyatt Milam should at least get a mention. Doug Nestor, maybe. That's the ones that come to mind. Obviously, kudos to Zach Frazier. I mean, he deserves every bit of that first team recognition. He's arguably the second. I think Phil still has him as the second best center in the country, behind the guy from Georgia, who I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head, but he has him as number 1 and Zach Frazier at number 2 in the entire country. So, he's an NFL player, no doubt about it, and deserves every recognition he gets. But I just don't see how anybody, and Paul and I were talking off camera earlier today about, I was watching the College Chaos pod, which is part of the 365 Sports family, the other day, and they were giving their top QB, wide receiver, and running backs in the Big 12 going into 2023. And then once they gave that, they gave shout-outs to some other guys, like honorable mentions, basically. C.J. Donaldson did not even get a shout-out. And I'm like, and I put a comment, I was like, guys, did you guys even watch West Virginia football in 2022? There's no way you cannot at least give C.J. Donaldson a shout-out for the way he played last year. I mean, he burst onto the scene, had over 500 yards and only played in about 7 or 8 games. I mean, what else did the guy need to do?
And what did he have, 6 or 8 touchdowns?
Yeah, I don't even know. I can't remember, but it was 6, I believe. But
you talking about Van Pran from Georgia?
I don't have that off my head. What's that?
Van Pran from Georgia?
Yes. Phil still had him as his number 1 center. Zach Frazier at number 2.
Cedric Van Pran, yeah.
And that's fair. I mean, that cat's a.
Oh yeah, he's better than Zach Frazier. But I mean, he's a generational talent at center. He'll be probably a first round pick for sure. Zach's got a
Right.
chance to move into the second type first round. He'll probably end up being a. I don't know if he'll be center or guard for next level. It'll be interesting to see what they do with him. I think he can play anywhere on the interior. So
Jeremy Croy, thanks for the comment, man. Jeremy's a channel member, guys. You see the little logo beside his name? That means he's a channel. You can become a channel member over at Couz's Corner. Paul, I don't think Paul has it set up yet on his channel, and we don't
not
have it
yet.
on Who's from the Hills either. But we will do that eventually. But anyway, Jeremy says, speaking of defense, generally when we give up huge pass plays, is that usually on the cornerbacks or is it on the safeties? I'd say it depends, Jeremy. Really, um, I'd say both. Both would be my answer because we last year we played mostly zone, so it would have to come down to both. What about you, Paul?
Yeah, if you want to go back to last year, it was on both, but mostly the safeties. Um, we just weren't good in those spots last year. When Charles Woods played, you see how much better that group looked at the corner spots, even for the little bit he played injured.
Mhm.
But I mean, we haven't been good at those positions for a couple years now. You know, so I think they'll get back to their better defensive ways like they were the first couple years. We're hoping they played zone
Right.
those years too.
Uh, I'm not sure which super chat you've read already, Paul.
Let's see. All except the last one.
Well, Daniel Gigax.
Yeah, the blue one.
Daniel Gigax says, if you have a good O line, that can get you 7 wins. I agree. And that's another reason I think, going back to the video I did the other day, I think with that offensive line and then you add in our deep running back room and our quarterback run game, if we don't run the ball 60% of the time, something's wrong. I mean, that's the strength of our football team. You got to
Right. At
utilize
least
it.
right now.
Thanks for the generosity, guys, on the super chats. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Um,
apologize for being late. My life is crazy right now, to say the least. I've had all kinds of issues at the house, heat pump problems. Now I got an electrical problem. I got a breaker that's messed up on me. Every time I get one thing fixed, something else breaks. So it's been nuts.
yeah.
Not to mention my job, the one that pays the bills.
That's the big question, isn't it, Krista? I think 7 games is the number that, and it's crazy how far our expectations have fallen. I think we were all, I think our expectations for this squad has probably fallen, depending on from fan to fan, either 2 to 3 games total from what we used to expect to what we now expect. I think 8 to 9 going into even those years with Gino was what we expected every year. Even the Will Greer years, which we did hit those marks. And traditionally speaking, that's pretty much what we are, an 8 to 9 win football team. You know, this course scrap in the last 4 years is not who we are traditionally. And I do think the move to the Big 12 has played a huge part in that. But I do think we finally figured out the roster for the Big 12. So we'll see. Outside of a few players, anyway, we're definitely not high end all the way. But I do think, excuse me, Miss Mountain Dew's tearing me up. I do think we'll be able to compete. 7 games. It just makes me mad that 7 games is the standard for it.
I agree. Yep, John, I think that's what we're all thinking, buddy. Just be competitive. Thank you, Matthew. It means a lot, man. Maybe the eternal energy. I don't know that I would go that far. I mean, I still think we can become an. I don't want to say elite. I don't know that we've ever been elite. We've had elite years, but we're not. I don't think we're elite over. I would put us at a tier 2 program behind the, maybe
Like
tier 3,
Wisconsin.
depending on maybe tier 3, depending on how you want to rate them. But we're definitely not a bottom feeder by any stretch of imagination. At least we haven't been historically. We've been one of the most consistently winning programs of all time, just until the last 4 years, really.
Right. Yeah, it's a number on us too. No number on us.
As far as basketball goes, Paul, I guess you guys touched on that too, didn't you?
Yeah, do you have your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll be quick. Basically, obviously, hate to see Jose leave. We need, at this point, we need the players, we need the depth. And I do think he's talented, but I also think he was always online putting out cryptic tweets and stuff. And, there seems like there's been some drama around him ever since he's been here. Some of it was not any fault of his own, and some of it I think was. So maybe him leaving could end up being not such a bad thing at the end of the day. But right now it doesn't look good, just because everybody thought keeping Eilert would keep the roster together, and it's not doing that. It's guys are leaving anyway. But I think teams are pouncing on us, man, trying to take advantage of this situation with NIL money, and I'm sure there's probably some poaching going on. If I had to guess, I don't want to make accusations, but
Neil Brown already did.
it's I think it is what it is. I think it's kind of obvious at this point, right?
Yeah, and Neil said just the other day, he said it's being done in ways you cannot track. Uh-oh, we lost him. But yeah, so that's what's going on. With the poaching, the tampering. Not only is it being done, but it's being done in ways that can't be tracked. And that's unfortunate, because I think if you're a team that's getting the players, maybe you overlook it. But when it's happening to you and you're a team like West Virginia, like for instance, Georgia, they could take the losses we took even that year we lost 19. They probably could have took that and still been a really good football team. We can't. We can't take those kind of losses. I was just saying Neil Brown said the other day, and I don't know what show it was on or podcast, but it was I think it was maybe with Tony Caridi's boy, but I can't remember. But he said all poaching is happening. We know it's happening. Tampering is happening. He said, and it's being done in ways you can't track.
Agreed. Gavin says, what big-time player would want to play for somebody with zero head coaching experience? Well, then why did they go to, or I don't know how many players went, but why did several of the players go to Wren Baker and fight for Josh Eilert to get the job if they didn't want to play for him? That makes no sense.
Right.
Jose leaving. Go ahead.
I was going to say, unless Eilert's their boy and they were just trying to do him a favor, getting the job, with no intentions of actually staying, which is shady too.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just guys intended to stay and then started hearing about all this NIL money that was out there and decided to go get it. That's what I think.
That's it. And they're using Huggins as an excuse now.
Right.
In my opinion.
Jeremy McCroy says Jose leaving will give other guys opportunity to step up and show what they have. Perez wasn't that efficient in his shooting. He's not our biggest loss. I agree. I actually think, my opinion, Joe was a bigger loss than Jose. But at this point in time, I just want to be able to field a roster, which I think we will, but we need some depth. Eugene Burns, thanks for the $1.99 super chat. He says, I'm predicting 3-9 this season. I hope I'm wrong. Yeah, I'll get into I'm going to do a whole show on my prediction, but I think we're going to be better than 3-9. But you know what? A lot of people around the country seem to be predicting that, or something similar. So people just aren't real high on West Virginia right now. And it's fair. That's fair, to be honest. They don't really have a reason to be.
Yeah.
They've not proven that they've not given anybody a reason to be high on them. Daniel, I don't know the exact number, but there are several who do have agents. Some of them do, and as a matter of fact, some of them will put their agents in their Twitter handle, say, "Hey, for business inquiries, contact so and so, whoever it is." 8 scholarship players, yeah, I know they do need depth for sure, but they'll go get some. They'll get some out of the portal. I've got faith in Jay Kuntz and his staff, Josh Alec. I think they'll get some guys. Now they better do it quick because time's running out. But
yeah,
I think they will.
We need to lower expectations of the kind of players we're going to get. I think unless more keep entering the portal,
yeah.
But there's so much competition right now, and this time of year, it's tough.
Yeah. What do you? I didn't. Is Alexis Yetna? Has he committed anywhere yet?
We're out on him from what I've been told.
Okay.
That knee of his seems to be a real concern still.
Oh, okay. And I know he committed to Washington. I saw that.
Right, and as far as Quinterly goes, which you and I are extremely high on, he would come in here and possibly be our best player, and that includes Jesse Edwards. But unfortunately, he is probably headed to Memphis. Excuse me. As of right now, the way things look, and they've got don't they have the FedEx money?
Yes, potentially.
Yeah.
Potentially, yes. Yeah, I mean, I think it's FedEx. They got FedEx money. Louisville's got somebody. Under Armour, maybe.
Yeah.
But, Oregon's got Nike.
We've got King Gendrick.
Maybe it's Reebok money. Anyway, Louisville's got some big organization that backs them.
What's their stadium's name?
Memphis?
No, Louisville's. Papa John's.
I have no idea.
Isn't it Papa John's Stadium?
Papa John's Stadium, yeah.
I wonder if they're backed by Papa John's too.
Possible.
Just spitballing.
Louisville has KFC. I like KFC. Krista just said the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, guys, Paul, you got anything else? I didn't mean to come here and take over the show, man. You were doing fine without me.
Listen, man, I needed a break anyway.
Anything else you want to mention?
Nah, I think I want to keep you out in the sun a little while longer.
As you can see, with my sunburnt nose, I don't think I need any more sun.
All right. Well, listen, guys. If you're not subscribed to Hoops in the Hills merch store over at Couz's Corner with Hoops in the Hills gear, not subscribed to Couz's Corner, Mountaineer Paul Talks Football, it is free. And Couz even takes it a step further and offers channel membership. What are you doing if you're not a member of Couz's Corner? One of the most insiders there is, Couz's Corner. We'd like to thank Dutch Miller for sponsoring this video. Really appreciate them. Appreciate you guys, for all you do for us. And you come out here and support us 100 deep every video we come live, and we really do appreciate that too. Keep on supporting us, guys. We're only going to keep growing. So,
I am in Mercer County, WJAY TV.
I am from Mingo County, West Virginia, a place called Dingus. But I live by Huntington now. Right in Marshall Country, baby. And I'll tell you, I'm not a fan of that. The blundering turds.
The guard out of UCF, Paul. Is he still available?
I'll have to look into it, to be honest with you. I'm not certain.
I'm not. Paul's usually on top of this stuff more than I am, so that's why I asked him. Because I'm
not. Well, I told him earlier it's been a holiday weekend and a holiday week, and so neither one of us have put any money, much anything out. I haven't, and I just took a couple days off just to decompress, and we're back. So I'll have answers on that kind of stuff this week.
Yeah, man. It's been a busy time, man. Really busy time. But I'm going, guys. I guess we're going to sign off of here. At least I am, Paul. You're welcome to stay on, obviously, but I still got things lingering that I need to need to take care of. So,
Okay.
For those of you who may have
He's
missed the
talking
live,
about.
for those of you who missed the live early on, this will be up for you guys to watch later. So no sweat. Feel free to go back and watch it later on.
Looks like it's E.L. Horton who was talking about. I forgot about that.
Yeah, Horton. That's it. That sounds right.
I'll ask a couple of my guys on that. I haven't heard much about him lately. I'll be honest. He is a good player.
Yeah. Yeah, there's still and like John Kelly said, there's still about 100 players left in the portal. So there's guys out there. You just got to go get them. But
all right, guys. Well, this has been another episode of Mountaineer Paul Talks Football. Who's from the Hills and Couz's Corner. We've got another super chat.
Eugene Burns, thank you, man. Says, I'm from Monroe County, but living in Michigan. Well, Eugene, we miss you here in West Virginia. Hope things are well in Michigan. We thank you for the super chat and for the support.
Yep. Anybody else got anything for us? We certainly won't say no.
Thank you, John. We appreciate your support, brother.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Thanks to everybody in the chat. We're signing off, guys.
All right.
Enjoy the rest of your
cool,
evening.
Samuel. I know all about Lenore, man. We'll talk next time, Samuel. Follow me on Twitter at Paul Mountaineer, at Couz206. It's right there. If you want to get us on Twitter, right there it is. Which I didn't get Couz's, but there's Couz's. Right. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you guys for coming and watching this episode. This episode is over, and we are out.